It was a needle. I was awoken from a somewhat troubled sleep by a call from Sean. I ignored it and texted him, telling him to text me instead. He told me to look in the mailbox, so I groggily pulled myself out of bed and went to see what was so important. A single piece of paper was folded up inside. I opened it and was disgusted. A gruesome drawing of a woman being raped by an old man. I called Sean up and he just said, "I hope you're not grossed out already. They're only going to get worse." Scared and confused, I headed off to work a while later. When I returned, I was exhausted and not up to dealing with any more creepy behavior from Sean. My phone rang. Seeing it was from Sean, I reluctantly answered it. He ordered me in a gruff voice, "Go and check your mailbox, or I'll come and kill you there." Those were his exact words. I wanted to call the police, but I was terrified that he could get me before they could. So I hurriedly darted out to my mailbox, snatched a piece of paper from inside, and bolted back inside. I was petrified about what was inside, but when I opened it, I immediately regretted my decision, as my eyes were met with the sight of a dead child being fingered by Sean. I called Sean, but it went straight to voicemail. After several unsuccessful attempts to contact him, I decided to finally call the police. They soon hunted him down and arrested him. As he was led away to the back of the car in handcuffs, he glowed at me. I shifted uncomfortably as I watched him out the window. He was really mad at me, but unfortunately for me, I soon discovered that he hasn't been the one sending me those drawings, because the next day, there was another one. The picture I got was a man brutally cutting open a vagina and taking out the woman's entrails through the jagged hole. I went down to the police station to tell him that it couldn't possibly be Sean who was the guilty one. They released him, and I started gushing about how sorry I was. A few minutes later, I plucked up the courage to ask him if he really was the painter of the pictures. I turned away for just a moment, but when I looked back, he had disappeared. I saw Sean running outside and hop into a car with a man in a ski mask. I had to have answers, even though I was seriously fearing for my life at this point. I sprinted as fast as I could and just managed to wrench the door open and clamber into the tires, squealed, and the car took off at an incredible speed. Sean and the man struggled and tried to shoot me, and they barely missed me by a hair. Sean eventually got me pinned in the back of the seat until we came to a dingy-looking house. They led me inside roughly, and the whole place was filled with tubes and vials, and it stank of decay. "How do you like our crack house?" Sean whispered right in my ear. He kicked me to the floor, and at least 4 big scary men soon came in, all carrying guns. With one more sharp kick to the head from Sean, I had blacked out. The next few hours were a blur as I faded in and out of consciousness, but all I can remember is waking up the next morning. I looked groggily around at my surroundings, and my eyes widened as I bolted upright in shock. I was back in the art classroom. I was battered and bruised, but all things considered, I didn't feel bad. I couldn't even hear the morning's first few students milling around somewhere not too far away. The sounds of doors creaking and a bird chirping outside. I lay flat on my back, but for a moment, filled with relief, the feeling was instantly replaced with horror as I looked at the ceiling for the first time. There in stunning detail, rendered in blood, was a painting of Sean and me, with my entrails dripping out, hanging to a barbed wire fence by my intestines, and him, the demon that he was, that hellish monster, sincerely smiling at me, right next to me. My phone vibrated. It was a text from Sean. "Do you like it? I think the next one would be even better, especially if you model for me. See you in art class."